afternoon. Welcome to the second session of Pushperi Medical College's webinar series being conducted as a part of our annual CME program from the Department of Community Medicine. Our theme for this year is Being in Charge, a Guide to Management in Primary Healthcare. Our first session last Thursday was an introduction to primary healthcare given by Dr. Anish T.S., Associate Professor of Community Medicine at Government Medical College, Tirunelveli. Today's session on the various health programs will be taken by Dr. Resmi M.S. The final two sessions are scheduled for the coming two Thursdays. On December 3rd, Dr. Zenia T. Nugent, Associate Professor of Community Medicine from Government Medical College, Kollam, will take a session on material management, and on December 10th, a session on intersectoral collaboration will be taken by Dr. Indu P.S., Professor and HOD of Community Medicine at Government Medical College, Tirunelveli. Please leave your comments and questions in the comment box and we will discuss them at the end. Today's session is on programs, their implementation and challenges. Joining us today is Dr. Resmi M.S., Deputy DMO of Kerala's Pathanamthitta District. Dr. Resmi completed her MD in Community Medicine from Government Medical College, Tirunelveli. She joined the Kerala Health Services in 2017. She has multiple publications to her name, and she served as a state resource person for Kerala's Ardhar Mission. She is also the District NCD Nodal Officer. She is currently the Deputy DMO in charge of Pathanamthitta District and also the district's COVID-19 Surveillance Officer. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Resmi M.S. Over to you, Madam.
Good afternoon, all. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Sarah. Thank you, Department of Community Medicine, Pushpagiri Institute of Medical Sciences, for allowing me for a talk. I'm very glad to be a part of this program because I was being in touch with the department during our days in our COVID surveillance. I'm very happy to be a part of this program. Thank you. Okay. I shall share my screen. Yes, can you see?
Ma'am, currently we're seeing the files that you have opened, ma'am.
Okay, just 1 second. Yes, can you see now?
No, ma'am.
Okay, let me check. Now, can you see, Dr. Sarah, please?
No, ma'am. Screen is still black.
Okay, so I'll just close my slides. Okay, and I'll restart. Okay, is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am. We can see it now.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So good afternoon all. I think you all can identify what the screen shares. So this is actually the Alma Ata, which is an international conference on the primary healthcare, which was conducted on 1978. And this was a milestone in the history of public health, and which was a key to attain the goal for health for all. But we had very early than the Alma Ata, we had the same concept called comprehensive healthcare, which was first used by the board committee in 1946. The provisions of integrated preventive, curative, and promotive health services from 1 to 2 to every individual residing in a defined geographic area was the theme of comprehensive health care. So this suggested that comprehensive health care should replace the policy of providing more medical care. So the primary health care is the first level of contact of individuals and the communities with the healthcare system. So the Alma Ata Declaration Health for All is broadly accepted to be a precise statement of the principles of primary healthcare. We all know that the principles of primary healthcare is equitable distribution, community participation, intersectoral coordination, and appropriate technologies. Now, India is bearing a dual burden of diseases. On the lower end, we have the malnutrition, hygiene, immunization, sanitation, and infectious diseases, which are our major concern. And on the higher end, we have the environmental health and lifestyle diseases and other non-communicable diseases. So now we have another added threat of emerging infectious diseases like Ebola, SARS, H1N1 influenza, and now the one thing, the important one which we are going through for the last few months is COVID-19. So we could say India is facing a triple burden of disease, that is the unfinished agenda of communicable diseases, non-communicable diseases, and the emerging as well as the re-emerging infectious diseases. So India government has put forward a lot of national programs to see to highlight the importance of these programs and to ensure the health which is defined in the Health for All, in the Alma Ata, in the comprehensive care. Okay, so these national programs have been functional through different layers of our state. So various international agencies like WHO, UNICEF, UNFPA, World Bank, etc., are funding for this implementation of these programs, and they are giving some technical as well as material assistance for these programs. We all know that the functions of a primary health care center are many. It depends upon the area, so we can like modify the functions to some larger extents if we are having many vulnerable population. And one important area is the national health programs. So you all know about the Panchayati Raj. So Kerala is one among the successful state under the Panchayati Raj where the health is made at a stand, and we have achieved a highest score ever in the health outcome indicators. So Kerala is standing first in health indicators for so long years due to the successful implementation of programs. So the health status of Kerala being different from the rest of the country, we know we are working in coordinates with the uh, sustainable developmental goals. So we need to redefine in the picture of our indicators that our state needs a different set timelines for the SDG goals. So in this context, I want to introduce one important program which is running in Kerala nowadays is Mission Ardhram, which is one of the precious or prestigious events or initiative from the present Kerala government, which was launched in February 2017. So this is the logo of Ardhram Mission. This mission is one of the 4 missions under the Navakerala mission initiated by the government of Kerala. So the objective of Ardhram mission is to completely transform the public health sector in the backdrop of Sustainable Developmental Goals 2030 of the United Nations. The primary focus is on SDG 3, that is the good health and well-being. So as there is an overall shift in the direction of curative healthcare services, drastically increase the out-of-pocket expenditure of the patients, and it has combined with the more tragic events of epidemiologic as well as the demographic transition, our government interventions through the Mission Ardhram became eventually necessary. These are the objectives of Mission Ardhram. One is the people-friendly outpatient services. Second one is the re-engineering PHCs to FHCs, that means the family health centers. Another one is the access to the comprehensive health services for the marginalized or vulnerable population. And the fourth one is the standardization of services from primary care settings to the tertiary settings. Actually, by Ardhram Mission, government has focused the transformation of a primary health center to the family health center, where the focus is more on the family. So we are seeing a person in concept of a family, and we are intruding into the each level services that could be delivered to a person from womb to tomb, and it is maintained as a phase series of infrastructural as well as administrative changes in the primary healthcare centers. So the strengthening primary care and improving the quality of service provision is focusing on the infrastructural improvements, the human resource training, record management through the e-health system, improved laboratory facilities, and a more preventive rather than curative outlooks towards healthcare. Under the People's Campaign by the government, the panchayats are in a position to identify the felt need of people. They need to analyze the development programs, the developmental problems, and they need to assess the strength of the local resources. How much resources are we having now? Is it feasible development schemes that we have arise? And whom should we prioritize? Whom should we give more importance? Who are the actual beneficiaries of the program? And what we have to do is to integrate them into a local plan document. So although the transfer of finances, the functions and functionaries from the state government, that the panchayat has varied from state to state, the panchayats in Kerala are perceived to be the strong in terms of organization and resources. So this concept formed the basis of the health planning in our state, and there is an establishment of lot of family health centers in our localities. So regarding the implementation of national health programs, as a medical officer, we are in a pivotal role in implementing the health programs in our institution. But the thing is, before implementing the program, we need to know the actual situation or scenarios our health institution is going through. So we need to know what is the actual need of the community before going to the program. Okay, we know that the government has implemented many programs. It is funding our programs. We are to implement the programs and run this program. But as far as the situation is concerned, for the smooth running of program, we need to know about the concerned needs. So we need to have an assessment of a society, of the community or the area which is concerned to our institution for more smooth implementation of every national programs. So for implementing a national health program, these three factors are very important. One is the participants. Other one is the requirements of the implementation of programs. And the third one is the monitoring and evaluation of the program outcomes. Regarding the participants of the program, we know that the program will be involving the whole society, and many organizations will be operated under these systems. And every society is different, and the participants or the beneficiaries in these programs will be varying according to the area. And for the implementation, we have several requirements. So these are the basic requirements for the implementation of any national health program. First one is the team. We should have a team with the specified responsibilities for each members. So when you take a national program, you see there are, for example, the universal immunization program. Okay. So when you see the immunization program, we have a lot of team members, like the public health nurse will be having so and so responsibilities. And the junior public health nurse, JPHNs, will be having another set of responsibilities. The Asha Anganwadi workers will be having some set of responsibilities. So the roles and responsibilities of each members in the team should be specified for implementing a national program. Now, we need to assess whether there is any gap between the infrastructure and the health personnel to function. If there is a gap, the start of the implementation will be in vain. So we need to fill whether the infrastructure is adequate. So as a medical officer, we need to see whether this program will be running smooth with this infrastructure or with this health personals. So if there is any deficiency, we need to seek the chances of getting that gaps filled. The third important factor is appropriate training to increase the capacities and skills of the personals. So in every program, we can see some setbacks, which is merely due to the lack of training. So the idea behind every program is to give the services to people in an affordable, accessible way. But if we are lacking the training among the health staffs, or the capacity building is not done on a timely manner, the process or the outcome which we are expecting will not be the same at the end of the program. So the training can be given from the institution level. Already while implementing a program, the field staffs or the health personnel who are involved in the program are given training on that. But as a medical officer, you need to refresh the skill trainings and to increase their capacities or capabilities to work with that program. Now we need to see the levels of implementation of this program. That is, where should we implement this program so that the people can access it, or so that the service delivery is reliable. So this could be like some programs will be implemented more effectively when it is implemented on the institution level, or some programs will be implemented more appropriately at sub-center level. So you have to see at which level the implementation can get focused. Okay. So next thing is one important thing is the logistic management. So we need to ensure the resources required for the program and its supply is adequate, and there is no shortage of resources. So how will we do this? So this is something which we can talk about in 4 hours and hours about the logistic management. I think you will be having a session on logistic management. How will you have a continuous supply in your institution? There are so many techniques that we can use for the management of logistics, and according to the appropriateness of the beneficiaries, according to the resources that we have. So this is one thing which we need to focus on. The next thing is increasing the awareness of the program through IEC. So for every program, success programs are the ones which have gained its reliabilities, or which have gained its the progress distribution or awareness through many medias or throughout the people. Okay, so but the one important thing which our mass media people are doing is increasing the awareness of a program. We all have a mass media components in our districts, which is one of the main stakeholders in the implementation of programs. So after getting a program, like after implementing a program, the idea behind increasing the awareness is to increase the reach of people to this program. We know that there are several districts in Kerala where there is so much resistance for the national health programs, even during this time. So this is generally because of the lack of awareness among the beneficiaries about the program. So what is this program for? Why is it important to have this program? Why is it important to be a beneficiary? So this awareness should be on every beneficiary, so that a program will be in a success. Now, every program activities, like any other activities, our program activities need to be reviewed in a timely manner, so that we can know if there is any pitfall in running of these programs. And the last one is the proper documentation. This is one important step that you have to do in each and every moment of your work. Because without a documentation, we cannot go back to the situation where we have stood before the implementation of program. So through the process, what is going on and how the program is happening in the field, or how the beneficiaries are affected. So all these things needs a proper documentation. So these are the basic requirements for the implementation of any programs. We need to give priority to researchers. So I would like to highlight this point because in our point of view, we have to give research a higher end, because our system is lacking or running in short of resources, like researchers, what I have felt after joining the health services. So we need to increase the researchers related to the individual targets and tasks, so that we could identify the areas which we can give more focus to, or prioritize the resource allocation. So, and last but not the least, we need to have an adequate financial resource for the implementation of all the programs from health promotion at all the levels. Now, we are implementing a program. So the program is running well, But the thing is, we need to see the program from both ends, from the provider end as well as the beneficiary end. So for that, the key role is there for an evaluation of the program outcomes. So monitoring and evaluation of programs has to be done in a timely manner, which will provide the basis for introducing in the program necessary modification and amendments. The elaboration for the detailed objectives of monitoring and evaluation of the results will be the responsibility of the professional team for the program implementation. This thing we all know is a milestone, which is the intersectoral coordination. Why do intersectoral coordination is considered as one pivotal component of primary healthcare? Because we know that health is multifactorial. So only the healthcare system cannot afford the other determinants. So the other sectors which are indirectly uh, affecting the health needs more focus. So the term intersectoral collaboration is collecting the actions which is involve more than one area into or performing different roles, and it has to be collected and correlated for a multi-sectoral action which is necessary for the functioning. So for this, we need to know the sectors where we should interfere. So in public health, all the sectors need to be engaged, and this is very crucial for the public health practice to gather the evidence to support the decision making or to justify the selected interventions to contribute to the knowledge. Uh, Primary healthcare involves, in addition to the health sector, all the related sectors and aspects of national and community development, in particular, agriculture, animal husbandry, food, industry, education, housing, public works, communication, and other works. So, when you take example of, say, dengue or say leptospirosis, so when there is leptospirosis, okay, we can go for some our health areas, but there are a lot of other areas which we need to focus or which we need to take into account so as to reduce or so as to control leptospirosis. That means, okay, there will be water cloggings. Okay, so the public works have to involve. There will be the waste problems, so the way that problems should get addressed, which is not directly the health department who are going to deal with this. So we need to take in importance the other sectors for the proper functioning of the programs. The next part is the community. So community participation, the intersectoral coordination and the community participation together form together play a role in the health delivery system appropriately for the society. Here, by community participation, what we mean is that the level or the participation by the beneficiaries itself will gain more the points to our the program implementation, because the people who are the beneficiaries are the people who are actually knowing the real problem of their society. So when we see the people from the beneficiary end, we could see so many problems which is not there in our priority list. Okay, so we as a medical officer, we identify some sort of problems in our society, and we'll prioritize these problems, say 1, 2, 3, but we are listing it in a manner how we are seeing the society. But when we are seeing it from the beneficiary end, the thing is that the people in that locality will be actually having another set of problems which are influencing their lives adversely than the set of problems we have listed through our vision. So the people should be participated, or they should be actively participating in the programs where we are giving, and they have to disseminate, we need to disseminate the information about the program, and by this we can motivate the people to involve in these programs so that we can know what is their actual problem and how much resources are they are having locally. How can we solve the problem in like that we the additional problem that they have aroused with their own resources. So all these kind of things can be done with proper community participation. So as a medical officer, all the health workers must be trained to acquire a better understanding of approaches that can promote the community participation. For community participation, we have level steps. So these are the main 4 steps. One is the identification and prioritization of the problem. And next we need to do is planning together with the community, and we can select the community members, and this can be implemented by the community members, and the community members can evaluate throughout the program. So various PHC activities should thus be implemented under the overall supervision and control of village panchayats. So this has opened up the possibility of controlling the infectious as well as the lifestyle diseases through the community involvement. The community can now demand or generate resources which is required for the healthcare, besides having a role in restructuring and existing in organization in the delivery of healthcare. So as we have seen the family health centers, now in family health centers, this community participation is an important characteristics, especially in the more rural FHCs, as they bring the community together to work towards improving the quality of living in the area through the different forums. Now, as a medical officer, this is your responsibility to implement all the healthcare activities within the catchment area of the healthcare. You may assign duties to other staff to the health facility as deemed essential for the implementation of programs. Now, we can acquaint with the geographical and epidemiological socio-cultural influences, the community organizations, the Panchayati Raj institutions, the non-governmental organizations, as well as work performance capabilities and constraints of healthcare delivery. So we need to develop a good networking of health facilities as well as the intersectoral coordination with all the departments. So the involvement and the autonomy of the operation of all the local self-governments in the functioning of a primary health center or the family health center is beneficial because the LSGs are more perfectly positioned to act as a coordinator or involve other departments or organizations. So we need to involve such organization to address the social determinants of health. The involvement will provide a perfect platform for such a kind of intersectoral coordination. So the mission Ardram is ensuring the community participation through different organizations and different sectors of workers like ASHA workers, World Health Nutrition Sanitation Committees, the Kudumbashree workers, and the new ones called Arogya Sena volunteers in every level of areas of Panchayat. While implementing the health programs, though Kerala has gone forward, we have a lot of challenges in the health program implementation. So while there is a great deal of agreement about the principles underlying the primary health care, many problems are political. You know, the PHCs itself are having a political approach, because we can see each program benefits or program outcomes under a PHC or under a government is well reflected by the political priorities.
So this is one challenge that we are facing during the implementation, because when the government or the political interest changes, the program beneficiaries or the way the program is implemented will change. So this will put us in some sort of constraints when the program is running smoothly and while the political interest is changing, and we need to focus on the outcomes while the real inputs are changing. Okay, so this is a very crucial situation when the programs are actually controlled by the political reflections. So what we need to do is, for every change in a political strategies, we should develop our own strategy to run a program. So this is one of the a challenge in front of a medical officer, how to go on with the program when there are crises, okay, when there is a change in politics. So this can be attained only if we are having a good listening with the officers, with good listening with the other departments and within our staffs. So there will be problems which is political, managerial problems or planning problems. So we need to see whether it is addressed at each levels. The finance and the planning ministries would have to be won over to the importance of concept of PHC to try to expand the health budget and to change the emphasis of existing resource allocation process. Now, the cost incurred by a PHC or a public health, the primary health center care approach, like expensive transport and communication systems and the resources needed to finance it may be available, but they may not be channeled to the politically less articulate group in the rural areas. So another issue with this is the area which is peri-urban and urban dwellers. We know that these group of people are increasing in proportion on a daily basis, but we are not sure, or the existing health system is having some challenges to address them properly. This is one important thing, that the Kerala that spends about 7% of its budget on health, considering that Panchayat controls about 13% of our state resources. There is a poor allocation of health, which adversely affect the health status, because we have a higher sort of chronic disease morbidities over the time. So one way to arrest the trend of declining resources to health is to enhance the level of PHC participation in the decentralized process. The other one challenge is the lack of trained personnel and infrastructure. But this challenge is almost dealt with the arrival of Arthur Mission. Because in Arthur Mission, what is happening now is the infrastructure development and more training for the personnel so that we can meet this loopholes. Similarly, the panchayats are required to rethink their strategies with the PHCs also, because PHCs, now what we are seeing is the medical officers or the primary health centers or the family health centers. As a medical officer, we are not that good in bargaining for the funds. So what we are seeing now is, although the panchayats are having more fund allocation towards health, just because we are not arguing or just because we are not bargaining for the funds, they are not allocating the funds to our programs. So the problem is with the level of implementation, the problem is with the level of communication from the medical officer. So with the panchayats also should view the government's healthcare sector as an opportunity to serve the people by improving its functioning, rather than having or enjoying the power of authorizing all these health institutions. So the Panchayat should widen the scope for the intervention beyond the creation of routine facilities and maintenance. So it is essential to evolve an institutional mechanism to formalize the community support in a comprehensive manner. Ideally, it should cover the resources generated by the community as well in order to obtain more equitable distribution of the community resources. So we need to ensure the effective implementation and achievement of targets under national programs through a supportive supervision. This is one important thing that we need to focus when we are implementing a health program, because no health programs will be successful unless we are monitoring it continuously or unless we are evaluating the program well. So there comes the importance of evaluation of any health programs. So this evaluation will help to refine the program delivery and to provide the evidence for continuing the support of the program. The evaluation will not only provide the focus on the effectiveness of a program, but it will also help us to determine if the program is good, if it is adequate or appropriate for the target population whom we are supposed to give the benefits. So we have to identify if there is any problem with the implementation or the support we are giving, or if there is any ongoing concerns that need to be resolved as a program is implemented in our society. So for the evaluation, we need to plan the evaluation. So this is an important step because the initial stage of evaluation is collecting the data, which is in a form of a baseline study to assess the situation before going on to develop the program. So this is not happening nowadays from the medical officer side, because this is done from the district or state level. But as in my opinion, the medical officer, because we are public health people, so we will be more familiar with the activities or the scope of a program, and we could identify the beneficiaries much better by knowing the public health. So we need to see, anyway we are implementing a program, but we need to see what is the situation the society is facing before the implementation of program. So what is the baseline baseline data which we are having on the society? So this planning, we have to define the aims, what we are trying to find with the evaluation, or we need to consider different steps to evaluate this program. So we can choose the evaluation methods. We can choose like some formative evaluation we can choose, or we can choose some summative evaluation. So appropriate evaluation techniques could be used for these programs. So when we are talking about the formative evaluation, as the name says, the formative evaluation is done at the beginning itself, because we need to know the initial situation, so that, and we need to know what are the resources available now, and we need to know whether it is happening in the right way after the program is ended. So formative evaluation is actually an internal evaluation of a program. Okay, so we need to examine the activities of the program in the early phases. So it is carried out to aid
the development of a program in its early phase. So when we say about the summative evaluation is done at the end of program, and we could like there are different types of summative evaluations also. Process evaluation is one important type of evaluation where we examine whether the program was carried out as planned. So this involves creating a list of indicators that need to be measured depending on the aims of program. So the process evaluation will help to identify the strengths and weakness of a program and where the improvements may be made. So another thing is known as impact evaluation. So in impact evaluation, what we are doing is like we are seeing whether the program has brought about a change. Okay. The change, the impact, it is referred to a change in a target population that has been brought about by the program. So this change would not have occurred if the program had not happened. Okay. So this will tend to take place at the end of a program as the focus would be on the outcome. This is known as the impact assessment. Now we can either do an outcome evaluation. So in outcome evaluation, what we are doing is the outcomes are measured to see if the program was successful. So we want to see from that, we need to be at the end of the program, right? So we are measuring a change in outcome, which is probably the most common form of evaluation. And this will provide the information as to whether the program had actually made a difference. Okay. So this is by comparing the participants with similar individuals who did not participate, or by comparing a combination of both. Now, there is something called dissemination and feedback. So after getting a evaluation done, it is very important to disseminate or provide the feedback to the stakeholders who are involved in the program, because this will help to garner the further support for a program, and if it is successful, and help others gain support for the introduction of similar programs. The publicity from dissemination activities may also increase the impact of the program. So if the program has not been successful, it is important to share this with others so that the weaknesses or relevant issues are considered in other similar interventions. So the Kerala's success in healthcare is due to a successful primary healthcare infrastructure during these days. So an organized approach in the healthcare is very much the need of our country, and only then the masses can benefit, and affordable healthcare is very important in this concern. So I think we can go on for any discussions or any queries, so that like I can share my experiences. Maybe that will be fruitful, I think, like for this presentation.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for that excellent presentation on our health programs. You weaved everything from the basics to the current scenario so seamlessly, and it was a privilege to hear your viewpoint on its executions and challenges. And now the session is open for discussion. If anyone wants to ask Dr. Rashmi their queries directly, they may do so at this point.
Thank you, madam, for that wonderful presentation.
Okay.
You told that evaluation is a very crucial aspect
Yeah.
in a public health program. So
Yes.
we know that during this COVID crisis times, were we able to continue our normal evaluation process of our public health programs? And how are we able to do that now?
Yeah. Thank you for the question. I could recognize that was Dr. Rahul.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, thank you, Rahul, for the question. Actually, this was an important question in this scenario because we all know that COVID-19 is one new, the new phase that we haven't faced before. So the COVID-19 situation has made us has put us in a situation where we know that Kerala was running all the national health programs very smoothly, and which resulted in higher good indices. But COVID-19 has shown us that it is a real crisis, and you need to go on. So what we have done is we have changed the strategies of delivering the services, because we need to run programs because after the COVID, so COVID will come, maybe we are fighting COVID and the COVID will go after some time, I wish. But the non-COVID situations which were prevailing in our society or in our country is still prevailing at its best. So so we were in a situation because we couldn't see any opinion, or we couldn't see any suggestion from the in our levels to how to forward this program. So what we have done is for the first 3 months, actually our national health programs were in a slow pace. So we started our fight from, I think, March or something. Actually, Kerala started much before. But regarding Patnamthitta, we started our fight from March. So for the first 3 months, all our national programs were okay because we didn't have much cases. But after 3 months, it was very crucial because the cases rise, and it was very difficult for us to deliver the services. One, because the people, the beneficiaries are not coming. The second one, the healthcare professionals, because we know we are in short of health care workers in terms of COVID-19. So what we have done is we had to reallocate the healthcare workers for so many control activities. And we had a new set of works which we were not familiar to during the COVID-19. So the health programs, still we need to go on with the health program. So what we have done is we have find another set of people to deliver these services in a different way. So the programs where the people have to come to our centers or our sub-centers were not supposed to come. So what we have done is we could deliver the services to the people by means of these volunteers or other institutions. Here in COVID-19, we have set an example with the greatest intersectoral coordination to deliver the routine services to people. So we have conducted, for example, for the NTEP program, the National Tuberculosis Elimination Program. So NTEP program, what we have done is we had arranged a health volunteer on each ward to see whether the patient, if there is in that ward, is having any shortage of medicine, he is in compliance with the treatment or something. And for the immunization program also, what we have done is we have arranged the ICDS and other staffs. We have trained them how we are going on with the programs, and we could so if we are doing one session in the initial phases, what we are doing now is we have disintegrated the sessions into different levels, and the service delivery is given at different levels. So when we are giving it in a sub-center level, now we are giving it in a ward level. So we have decentralized the service delivery to every level.
by identifying other sectors which could help or which could go on with the health activities of our state. So in Pathanamthitta, we could maintain with this intersectoral approach, we could maintain the health programs to run without much crisis. I would say there is some crisis, yes, there is, but we would adjust. Okay, we could somehow adjust to the programs to run smoothly by means of intersectoral coordination. So we could get different levels of interventions, and actually we could get more resource than we had before the COVID-19. So we were in short of resources. How will we how will we do all these things when we are decentralizing things to the uh, more grassroots level? So by involving other departments, we could raise more resources in terms of man, money, and material from these departments, and we could run all the programs successfully. And another one important program was NCD program. So we were in such a crisis because all our NCD patients, the majority will be above 60, elderly, comorbid. So unless we are not addressing these people, two things will occur. One, their comorbidity status will rise. The other thing, their treatment will be compromised. So both of these will increase the mortality. So not just because of COVID-19, just because of they are not getting the routine medicines, our crisis will be more, because Pathanamthitta district, we have more number of elderly people than any other district. So we have more proportion. When you see the COVID status also, we could see the proportionate level of these elderly people in having COVID-19 is much more than other districts. So this was another challenge we have to face. How will we address these elderly people? So we got another area called community volunteers from all panchayats. They could deliver the NCD medicines to all, and we could arrange the telemedicine facility in many of our panchayats. If they can afford, or if they can be compliant to that, we could do that also. And we are running telemedicine for addressing these kind of problems from elderly. Now we are also focusing on elderly with the Arogya Sena volunteers who are there in every panchayat. So the panchayat is allocating these volunteers for us. So all these volunteering organizations, all the intersectoral organizations are being used during COVID-19 to run this program. But the evaluation of the program is not running well because we are not in a phase to evaluate the program. But as this is the first time we are facing COVID, and this is the first time we have changed the resource allocation. We have changed the method of the service delivery. So it is high time to evaluate the problem. Maybe we need to ask you people, you can also do an evaluation how the program is running with the arrival of COVID-19. So you could do your secondary data, and you do an analysis to see whether it could be helpful for us also, because we are running in short of time and we are running short of resources also, human resources. We are trying to do an evaluation how the program is running. So every month we'll be having a review. In that review, we are evaluating the outcome measures. So we could see the indicators have a little bit fallen before, most probably due to the due to the fear among people how to receive these services. So more people are denying the services nowadays just because they are in fear of healthcare facilities, because people are in a situation that this pandemic is important than any other issues. So what they are doing is they are not receiving or they are not willing to receive the healthcare or deliveries from other people who are new to the system. So we are having some resistance from people regarding this. We are trying to sort out the problem by giving them more IECs and all. The national program, some national programs are doing good, like NTEP, UIPs and NCD, but rest of the program, as well as the public health activities like the communicable disease, the dengue, lepto spikes are there. And it is I'm very unfortunate that it is being hidden by our COVID status, but we need to focus more on the public health aspect too. Right now, we are gaining much confidence that we could run the program well, even if COVID is standing ahead.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Ma'am, we have one question from one of the participants.
Yeah.
Has any type of evaluation been done for Ardhram mission?
Yeah. Okay, that was a good question. Actually, Ardhram mission was the new initiative from Kerala government. So before implementing Ardhram mission, I was very lucky to go to be a participant in the evaluation of Ardhram mission. Actually, before implementation of the mission, it was, I think, during 2016 or 17. We had a expert committee meeting at state level. So the evaluation of Ardhram mission was done by a high-level expert committee. So what they have done is they have assembled the stakeholders of different organizations to this mission. So, so that they can know what is the current situation of each level, health levels in each district. So, by having a healthy discussions, we were divided into different exercise groups so that we could collect each district's available baseline data regarding all the sectors of health. So what we were doing was we were asked to calculate the indicators for each district regarding each health determinants. So after evaluating these determinants, we were given a task to formulate or to see the problems which have been priority list in our district. So these problems are being prioritized, and another expert committee was there to evaluate these problems and to see. So we need to give them the available resources also. So they were taking so many studies from Dr. Ramankuti, Dr. Vijay Kumar. So these are the legends behind these missions and all. And so the consents from their evaluation were given for these group discussions. So what they have done is they have taken the indicators from each district, they have taken the resources available from these districts, and from each district, the limitations is these resources were found out from the stakeholders itself. So the pitfalls was found that the public sector was more towards, or the public sector was more towards the limitations from the infrastructure part. So the people are at the end of the discussion, what they have found is that we need to address all the sectors of health, and also we need to address the basic problem, that is the infrastructure. So once you have seen so many FHCs now running in Kerala, and you have seen the physical situations or infrastructural situations which was earlier before the arrival of FHCs. So how these transformation can be done was actually discussed among the high-level expert activities. So the government's flagship was towards the campaign, that is the people's responsibility is their health. So their responsibility, our health is our responsibility. So the Kerala government, what they have tried is to transform this they have to taken up as a people's movement to see what is their actual requirements to avail more services from the public. So lot of evaluation desks were there for the implementation of this program. And after the evaluation, the resources were held in a stake, and these resources were scrutinized by the expert committees. So 10 different levels of discussions are after exercising this discussion for each district, they have find out 4 points where the people are more towards, which is under the Navakerala mission. This Navakerala mission includes the one such important point as Adram Kerala mission. So Adram mission evolvement was by through some 10 or 15 years, which was very early, but now how we are doing it is with the plans which is done by the expert level committee for each district. Actually, when we see the Adram mission components, if we see how the Adram mission is working in each district, we could see many differences, because every district has to revamp the health system, their public health system according to their resources. So Adram mission is given a model that we can actually set our goals with the available resources of our district. So it gives full freedom for the public health person to allocate the resources in a way so that the outcome can be brought to out. So the evaluation that we have done, or the state have done in Adram mission, was actually a formative evaluation. Now they are in a process evaluation, and for that process evaluation, every month, every 3 months or 4 months, that evaluate, there is a nodal person for Adram, the nodal officer for each district, who will evaluate the outcomes, or who will see the indicators how the system is running with the Adram mission. So we are actually in like 3 or 4 months after the mission has been launched. So I think it is one of a good system, or it is one of the good mission that the Kerala government is forwarded, because these systems is actually for like it has itself been an evaluation, it's itself been a what to say, one of the important setbacks for the government to increase the equity levels of medical care, and as well as it has seen the rising out of pocket expenditure, and it has a hold for this out of pocket expenditure also. So this project has been worked at various levels, and we are concurrently taking up the primary health facilities, which is medical as well as which has medical as well as non-medical contents. So I think the comprehensive primary health program also encompasses this, and all the PHCs will be restructured, reconstructed, and it can be redefined with better infrastructure also. And I think this Adram is also giving much importance for the skill development, which was one of the main disadvantages or challenges we could have. The Kerala government has given much importance for this, and what we have given is the Kerala Institute of Local Administration, called KILA, was giving trainings, so refreshment trainings and continuum training sessions for all the staffs at all levels. This was the highlight of this program, because we know that the level of knowledge at each level will affect the primary health or family health center. So what government has done is, this KILA institution has given trainings on the responsibilities of each individuals at each level, at the higher level as well as the lower level. So this is one of the important advantage, or this is one of the goal picture of Adram mission.
Thank you, ma'am. One more question. Can
Yeah.
a PHC doctor, can he do the evaluation of the health program, or can it only be done by a team of public
No.
health experts?
No. As a PHC medical officer, he is a master of that PHC or that institution. So a PHC medical officer he has to evaluate a problem because like we are following a program which has been put forward by some government years and years before. So our society will change, the need of our community will change. So we are the one to refresh the ideas because we need to identify if there is any new problem in a society or in the institution area. So we will be having the baseline details of our area. We will be having the list of resources. We are the one who are familiar to the local persons. So we will be more advantageous to collect these local problems or local like local requirements in our society, in our community. Okay, so a medical officer, what we are doing is no medical officer. There is some only little number of medical officers who are actually doing this evaluation. Ideally, everyone should do this evaluation so that we could know whether we are doing it for a sake, or even if the beneficiaries are equally, or if the beneficiaries are getting the outcome. So as a medical officer, we can avoid, can and we have to do the evaluation. For that, we can do actually as a public health expert, we can do evaluation at a sub-center level because we know what are the programs available there. We know who are the beneficiaries. So now we want to know whether the program has been entered successfully, whether the services have been received by the beneficiaries. So the medical officer has every right, and this is not a right. Actually, this is his responsibility to evaluate the program because I already told that if we see any pitfalls, if we see that the problem is, I mean, the program is not functioning well, or if we see that there is some gaps in this program in our area, we need to inform the stakeholders that this is not functioning well in our area. So maybe we will be having, we have to do some modifications. Okay, so this is the importance of evaluating a program in our locality. So we can use our health resources, our available health staffs to do the evaluation, and we could find some solution. There are many good examples for evaluation of programs by medical officers. You know the Punalur Taluk Hospital. That hospital superintendent, he was one of the best doctors. Okay, so what he is doing is much better than our public health expert, because what he is doing every 6 months, he used to see the indicators of the programs which is held by the community under his Taluk hospital. And Punalur Taluk Hospital is one of the best among the government hospitals in whole India. And it has won so many awards like AQS awards or something. What he has done is every 6 months, he will do the evaluation of all the indicators using his staffs. So every staff will be, once a staff is appointed, he used to train them to what this is your rules, the roles and responsibilities. You have to take care of this program, and you need to evaluate this program every 6 months and give the reports. So he is one of the best doctors who used to evaluate the programs in a timely manner, so that he could apply it on his field, and he is getting the result. The beneficiaries are getting more results. He has done so many modifications in program. The state won't resist, or if state won't insist you have to do like this only. So we may have modifications according to the requirements of our community.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. We have one final question, if it's okay.
Yeah. Yes, yes, please.
Ma'am, has a social audit been done for Ardhra mission?
Okay. So every doubt is for Ardhra mission.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Yeah, it is very good because I'm very happy to be in this discussion about Ardram because I was a state faculty. I has been a resource person in this Ardram mission. Actually, Ardram mission itself started with the social auditing. Okay. The social auditing was done by over like the at different levels in before implementing the Ardram mission. So and the social audit or with regards to Ardram mission is done with the Gram Sabha. So Gram Sabha, we have lot of choices in Gram Sabha, and we get more refined or more what to say varieties of informations from Gram Sabha, because this Gram Sabha consists of lot of A to Z varieties of people, which consist of people from different sectors. So this Gram Sabha the Gram Sabha was the important the field for social auditing of Ardram mission. What they found out in the Ardram mission social auditing was that we could do more resource allocation. So at the beginning of Ardram mission, there was not a people's campaign. It was only the Ardram mission, which focused on the 4 points. But eventually, government went for a people's campaign after the social auditing, which was done by under this Gram Sabhas. So you will be thinking the social audit was done only in Gram Sabhas. No, it was done with different sectors while the program was on implementation. And actually the auditing, the social auditing is the high because for every program, what the social audit is giving us a chance to identify the loopholes where we can actually fill the gaps. Okay, so in the social auditing which Ardram mission was going through, there was a difference which was found between the issues which have been neglected in the society. So these issues were included in People's Campaign. It was known as Kerala People's Campaign, whose theme was "Our Health is Our Responsibility." So the People's Campaign was integrated with the social issues of the people, and the government had put forward 8 points for the People's Campaign to go on, and it was launched in I think December or something. I'm not getting the So in December, the Kerala government put forward this campaign with these 8 elements, which is focusing more on the different social aspects of people also. So what we have done is they have took a bold decision to develop 35% or 30 or 35% of the state development budget for the local governments, where these local peoples could determine their own developmental priorities. So our government has given this type of idea with the outcome of the studies, which has performed with the people's planning and decentralization. So there were several issues that hampered the plan, like weak and highly centralized setups and inadequacy in administration, lack of database or something. So these challenges would often will often prevent the state government to pass financial functions at the local level. So, however, the recent developments have started to demonstrate these efficiencies, and which had attributed to the elimination of all the opportunities for the administrative corruptions, and which involve several peoples at different levels for decision making also.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Rashmi, for being our guest today in this webinar series.
Thank you.
Ma'am, we have one more question, ma'am. 1 minute, please.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you mentioned that most of the planning and implementation of programs at PHC level would have political influence. What will be the
Pardon?
you mentioned that most of the planning and implementation of programs at PHC level would have a political influence.
Yes, yes.
So, what will be the most practical way to include real community needs into them in your experience?
Yeah. Okay, we have gone as a district or like official. I could say different types of political involvements in the program. So the thing is, I have seen many good doctors has fallen just because of the change in political interest. But actually, as a public health expert, what interests us more is not the politics, but only the beneficiaries or only the people who are getting the services. So political interest will be changing time by time. We should have that is why I have told that we should have a clear cut plan to see whether the program is running, even the politics has changed. So the practically what we have to do is we have to have a good listening with all the departments. We should have more listening with the people, with the panchayat. So this panchayat or this gram sabha will be having people from different levels or different political scenarios. So once the people know that we are interested in the service deliveries, no politics or political interest will come and intrude to your activities. So as a medical officer, we should have a clear cut plan that what influences the people in this area the most, what is the idea of giving services to people, and what is the way to deliver the ideas by involving the people from all the levels. That is why we have to be in continuous listening with the intersectoral department. We have to be in continuous listening with the political and the religious leaders of a community. So we should have a list. So this interpersonal relationship with the doctors and good communication skill of a doctor would help him to deliver the services or to move the program smoothly, even if there is a political pressure or something. So if the people know, or if the people realize that this is needed when this is needed, even if the politics is different, the people are the one who are the main component of a program. So they'll come forward to avail this program or avail these services so that we can give it. And we have to invite all the stakeholders for different levels of discussion of this program, and we need to ensure their participation in all the levels. So if they're participating actively in all the levels of our program implementation, they cannot go back even with mere political interest or political deviation. So a medical officer need to acquire that skill to keep the people from different strata. That is a role as a team leader to keep all the people in our team to the game, and we are moving the game in a track with all the people. Even if they want to set back, they won't go back, because they are having a pivotal role in each and every point of a programs.
Okay, ma'am. And thank you so much, ma'am, for taking the time to answer our questions. I also thank the participants who asked the questions. And ma'am, it was an honor to have you with us today, and we're thankful that you took time from your schedule to participate in this webinar. I'm sure that, like me, everyone found it so much informative and thought-provoking.
Thank you, Sarah, for this session, and I'm very happy to be a part of this. And I would like to go on. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. The third session of the series will be next Thursday at the same time, where we will discuss the material management with Dr. Senia T. Nugent, Associate Professor of Community Medicine at Government Medical College, Kollam. We wish you all a wonderful evening.